Welcome back to the workshop, everyone. Eric here from Exhale, and in front of me today I have a Headhunter Nomad Polespear. I actually have just the front section because what we're going to show you is quickly how to rig the tip as this thing comes straight out of the package. So when you get your Nomad, you're going to get a little baggie with some parts in it. You're going to have an injector rod. That's the 18-inch injector rod for the Nomad. You're gonna have the tip itself. So there's the slip tip with the cable on it. And then in the other little separate bag, it's gonna come with some rubber O-rings, an Allen key, and some rubber bands. So at a glance, this can be a little bit intimidating to set up. It's not a ton of stuff, but it's a little weird how to figure it out on your own. So if you've never done this before, we get asked all the time of how do we set these up. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna wanna put the injector rod into the Polespear. So you're gonna want your little Allen key here. On the front of the pole, you're gonna see on one side of the, what do I refer to as the nose cone of the Polespear, there's a set screw in there. So first things first, you're gonna wanna make sure this guy is backed out. It'll probably help if you have the right size Allen key, which I do. You know, sometimes it's hard to get in there. You're gonna back that guy all the way out. Take your threaded end of the injector rod, start threading that into the pole. You're gonna wanna thread this down all the way just until it stops. The key here is you don't wanna tighten this injector rod super tight. Just hand tight is totally fine. And then you're gonna take that Allen key again and tighten up that set screw. That set screw is actually what's really gonna lock that injector rod in there. Next up, I'm gonna take one of our rubber bands, that guy. We've got one of our O-rings, that guy right there. And we're gonna connect these together just by looping them together. So the easiest way to do it is take a little pinch of that rubber band, just thread it straight through the O-ring like that, and then loop that end of it all the way around the O-ring. It's just gonna make a little bite of O-ring or a bite of the rubber band on there. Just like that, super simple. It's not even a complex knot to tie, you're just looping it through there. The next thing that we're gonna do is run, same thing, you're gonna go to the other end of your rubber band, take a pinch of that. On the Nomad, there's already a pre-built loop in here to connect to. So you're gonna thread that through the loop and back through itself. Same thing you just did on the O-ring. And now you're connected to that end. Now we can go ahead and grab the slip tip. We're gonna take the loop end of the cable. So we got the slip tip on this end, loop end over here. We're gonna start at the bottom and work our way up. So what we're gonna do first is go through the O-ring itself. Again, it helps if you kind of pinch that loop down a little bit, thread it through the O-ring. And then a key step here, which is easy to miss. From here, you're gonna go through the cable loop on the nose cone of the Polespear. That's a key step. If we miss that, it's gonna cause you some issues. I'll show you that in a second. So once you come through the loop, you're gonna take the slip tip cable right over the end of the slip tip and slide that all the way down. Now that is gonna make your hard connection. That's gonna stop and that's gonna lock up on itself. And you can take the slip tip. You can see here the rubber band is providing us a little bit of tension. That's what's actually gonna hold the tip on the end of the Polespear is the tension of that rubber band. Gives you a nice constant elastic tension so it's never gonna fall off on you. And that is how that tip is set up. From there, it's ready to shoot. You're gonna go through the fish. That's gonna toggle the slip tip when it comes back out. And a lot of people think this rubber band is holding the slip tip on there. It has nothing to do with holding it on there. It's gonna stretch all the way out, and that cable connection is what's actually gonna hold the fish to the spear. Same thing for taking it off. If you wanna get that slip tip out of your fish really easily, slide that guy back over the injector rod, pull it through the cable loop, and then pull it through the O-ring. Now you can take this back out of your fish and reset it up. All right, now one thing I mentioned before was that if you don't go through this cable loop on the Polespear correctly, it's gonna set you up to have a pretty bad day. And the problem with this is it's very easy to miss going through that cable and pass it and go right over the end of the injector rod. And when you go to rig this up, at a glance, that looks like it's rigged correctly. But when you shoot a fish, now the only thing holding it on there is that rubber band. So that fish is gonna take off, break the rubber band. That whole cable is gonna fly off the end of the pole spear. You're gonna lose your fish, you're gonna lose your tip, and that's when you're gonna have the bad day. So that's that key step there that you wanna make sure you do. When you're rigging that guy, go through the ring first, go through the cable loop, and over the end of the injector rod. Once you do that, like I said, you're locked up and good to go. I've got one extra little piece here that we're gonna show you. This is kind of how we like to mod these guys a little bit, toot this pole spear up. So like I said, it's gonna come with this rubber O-ring. Those are gonna come in the kit with the pole spear. And those work just fine, but they do tend to wear out a little bit over time. So you do the rubber bands and the O-rings, you're gonna end up replacing every now and then. But we like to use these little stainless rings. Number one, you technically only need one of them, but sometimes it's nice to have a couple because you can lose them. But it's gonna last forever. You will still have to replace the rubber band every now and then. We're gonna connect it just the same. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that on the pole like we did before. Loop it through itself, just like that. And now that's gonna work the same exact way, but on this stainless ring, the cable of the slip tip slides much nicer through it. So there's a little less binding in the system there. So it's the same exact setup, just a nice little stainless ring. And you can see that that cable just slides really nicely on that stainless ring. We do have these guys at the shop available. So if you guys ever want to find one of those, we have them here. Just let us know. And if you got any other questions or you just want to see one of these setups in person, come on by Headhunter Spearfishing. We're located here in Jupiter on Center Street. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video.